So today is the last day of the 5 sessions. So when we study and discuss about meditation, we are trying to develop what is known as emotional awareness or emotional intelligence. There are many people who have written books on emotional awareness and emotional intelligence, which basically means to be cognizant and aware of the different emotions that you develop in your mind. And then see the niya dua shuksa de shukna de pe de tungbo tu de yang kon tu de yungro wa kondal. So emotional intelligence or emotional awareness basically means, as I said, to be cognizant or aware of the emotions, the positive emotions and negative emotions that we develop in our daily life. And with the positive emotions, we need to know them and make friendship with them. As I said the other day, compassion, please come, have a nice cup of tea. Loving kindness, please come, join me for lunch, something like that, Develop this close feeling and slowly make it a part of your life. So that's what we are talking about. Whether we are talking about meditation or we are talking about Buddhist practice, we are talking primarily about removing these negative emotions. That you need to remember. Because the ultimate purpose of our life is happiness. And those that obstruct our happinesses are the negative emotions, the destructive emotions. So the destructive emotions are our sworn enemy. They are our real enemy. Not the enemy, not so much of the enemy outside. Okay? Whatever unfortunate things, obstructions, hindrances, difficulties, and problems that we encountered in this world are primarily due to negative emotions, directly or indirectly. So they are our enemy. So for a Dharma practitioner, the only thing one has to do is to recognize these negative emotions and deal with them, to reduce them, to weaken them, to fight them. So just as a soldier goes to the battlefield to fight, he has to adopt all the needed strategy. He has to have all the needed arms and weapons. So all these positive emotions like loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, so forth, these are the weapons to fight and destroy the negative emotions. So this is a very important project. You see, if you don't want happiness, peace, then okay. But that is something that we can never do away with. We want happiness, we want peace. Not only happiness and peace, but long-lasting peace and happiness. Since this is our genuine need, therefore you need to adopt those ways and means that leads to the development of this long-lasting peace and happiness. So this is a very crucial, important, subject. Whether you believe in religion or not believe in religion, that's a different matter. Religion is not absolutely necessary. But these negative emotions must be dealt with, even if you are a non-believer. So that's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama is so much talking about secular ethics education. We are now working very hard to develop curriculum of teaching secular ethics education from kindergarten to college. We have already finished the manuscript, the draft copy, and very soon, of course, it is a very important project, difficult project, so we'll come up with different ways and means to teach those programs so that it will benefit everybody, believer, non-believer, even those who are anti-religion. That's important. Then on top of that, in the case of those of us who believe in a particular religion like Buddhism, then there's added advantage of going deeper advantage of developing further on the foundations that we establish in the form of secular ethics and so on. Okay, so that's really, really important. So now what you have to do? What you have to do is, you need to look at yourself all the time, watch yourself all the time. This is the part of the practice. When you get angry, when you're about to get angry, then you should think about something else. Change the subject, think about something else. Just like the breathing meditation. And then try to reduce it. Sometimes the situation may be such that you may not be able to control anger immediately. You will immediately burst out, which I also sometimes do. You immediately burst out, say something. You get angry, things like that. But then, after having done that, the next important thing is, don't keep it in your mind. Don't keep it in your mind. Don't develop resentment. Don't develop hatred. That's the most dangerous thing. Anger, okay, it's not good, but if it comes, and then after that, if you don't maintain ill will, then it's okay, then it will not destroy your happiness. That's very, very important, and that we can do. I'll give you one example. For example, look at our situation. If you have a friend, let us say, somebody who has your friend for the last, say, 30 years. Not just friend, but hand and glove friend, as we say, very close friend, 30 years. Okay? Okay, just like one person. Now let us say this morning during the breakfast, we had some disagreement and had some heated argument. Okay? Because of that, we stop seeing each other, talking to each other. And look at this particular situation. On the one hand, you had this unpleasant experience of, say, 5 minutes of verbal fighting. On the other hand, you have this long story of 30 years great friendship. Now, how come that you are able to remember this 5 minutes verbal fighting and not able to remember that 30 years of long friendship? So this clearly shows how strong we are controlled by the negative emotions. So therefore, on such an occasion, what you need to do is, okay, it happens, you're an ordinary person, you have strong presence of negative emotions, you burst out, you get angry, you say bad things, sometimes even hit others. But then after that, the anger will cool down. There's nobody who remains angry all the time, right from breakfast till late in the whole day when going to the office, angry. Nobody gets angry the whole 24 hours. So your anger will cool down. So after your anger cools down, then you should think good things about this person, the 30 years friendship, whatever, And next when you meet, don't avoid him. Try to smile or try to say something, you see. And the best is immediately after fighting, when the anger has cooled a little bit down, go to him, hug him, touch him, cry if that is needed. Say sorry. Whoever is on the fault, it was a mistake, Remember, we have been such a good friend for the last 30 years. If you are able to do that, you are a good practitioner. You will be the winner then. You will strengthen that friendship further. But now look at the ordinary way of doing things. If you do something like that, then people say, oh, maybe he made the mistake, that's why he is asking for forgiveness. You see? This is the stupid, ordinary way of doing things. So, we do get angry, but try to talk to that person sooner or later, as if nothing has happened. Just as you do with your kids. Like if your kids fight with you, get angry, you also get angry. Never talk to them. Then how can the family run to live together, you see? We are able to do this with our family members, but not with others, clearly showing that we don't have respect and love to others. Love minimizes the fault. If you have love, genuine affection, the person looks nicer. Even that person gets angry, it looks nicer. You're able to talk to him still. You see? So this kind of practices we must. You don't just wait for a Buddhist text or Buddhist teacher to talk about all these things. Based on your own life's experience, you can learn all these things. Contrarily, if you have a fight with somebody, then after that you refuse to talk to each other. I mean, if you are, say, working in the same office, how can you remain like that, not talking to each other because you had a fight or disagreement, you know? How unpleasant to live like this together, you see. So that is how we should do the practice. Then you can see the change, you can see the benefit, you see. Okay? So we were discussing about the 7 limb practice. We had not even finished the 6 preparatory practices, and one of the 6 preparatory practices was the 7 limb practices. Now this 7 limb practice is very important. For a beginner like us, the practice of these 6 preparations and the 7 branch practices are extremely important to purify your negative emotions and to collect virtue. This is important. The purpose of doing such 7 limb practice is because we have committed many negative deeds. As far as negative works are concerned, we have done many of them. As far as collecting merits are concerned, we did not do much. Difficult for us to do prayer, difficult for us to go around the temple, difficult for us to talk nicely to other people. So collecting merit is not easy. Collecting demerit or doing bad things comes automatically, easily. If you are to cultivate compassion, it's very difficult. What is compassion? How to do it? With anger, comes out like that. But then, if you look at the nature, you see, think carefully, then like anger, there's nobody who right in the morning makes a motivation, today I will get angry. So that shows we don't like anger. And after having got angry with somebody, having fought with somebody, there's nobody who will at the end of the day say, today I fought with somebody, so I really enjoyed the day. So clearly showing that you also don't like it. But still, out of ignorance, out of the force of negative emotions, you are compelled to do those things. So automatically we end up doing many wrong things, many negative emotions. 2, less merit, more negative emotions. And then also we engage in activities which would further take away from doing Dharma practices. When you are about to do Dharma practice, somebody comes and obstructs you. When somebody is about to do Dharma practice, you sometimes obstruct them, you see. Till parche cheke mangudwa. Chu che de yakure de chu ke khala te me senge mangudwa. Gohe de pesha sogures. Labgirwa. Pesha sogumare senge yo mare de. Ina ko te labtang dukjarwa. Chu ke khala te me. Tenga ngosum konyu de labge. There are people who say, Dharma may be important, but that will not give you fruit. You have to earn. You have to get money. And many people say and think like that, you see. Of course you have to earn. But that does not mean to say that spiritual practice is not important. And in fact, when you do, sometimes I feel the greatest earning you do is through spiritual practice. Because number 1, you earn huge heaps of merit. Sonam mangbosa. Sonam mangbosa na? Sonam nami dete dungi thamche sel. Sonam dembe mi samba namjan doobs labre. If you collect merit, it will give you positive fruit. It will dispel sufferings. A person with merit is able to successfully fulfill all his objectives. Sonam medu lega jishuna mara, visa jishuna mara, ta kodewo hiyawaina, thamanga chin singin your embassy. Ro, tingu doa. Ngone he chenza reda. Mazu Papa Chakana, Capture, the young Kosonam Chug, test your encouraging the test. Mario de Soros do it and do still. Say to me the mean dog the Karina Chidua. The already. So therefore it's important to understand these facts. Okay? Not just believing in only concrete material things. So therefore, it is because of this, having collected a lot of negative deeds and having not collected merit, having engaged in actions that would deprive you further from religious practice, and having encountered other people who would obstruct your practices, in order to counteract against these, you engage in the 7-limb practice. For example, with prostration and confessing of negative deeds, it will act as an antidote against your having committed wrong deeds. And by making offerings and rejoicing the good activities, you counteract against having not accumulated merit. And having requested a teacher to give the Dharma teaching, having requested the teacher not to die, not to pass away, this will become a cause so that you are not deprived or will not engage in non-meritorious activities. And if you dedicate your virtuous practices, then you will find less people interrupting you. Occasionally I am switching on to Tibetan because there are many who are studying Tibetan. Oh yeah, then the 6th preparatory practice is making mandala offering and making supplication. Make a mandala offering, and then you should make the supplication by saying, whatever misconceptions that I've developed, including not respecting the teacher or seeing things as having inherent existence, may I be able to get rid of all these misconceptions. Contrarily, there are positive thoughts like respecting spiritual teacher, cultivating the right path and so forth. May I be able to cultivate all those positive qualities quickly. Quickly means, for example, people engage in tantric practice, and tantric practice is said to be the quick path. Why do you have to join the quick path? Because you want to get rid of your suffering quickly. If you are somebody who says, oh, I have no problem, I'm very tolerant with the sufferings and problems, I'm fine with the negative emotion. There's nobody who says things like that. Therefore, there is urgency to engage in practices like Tantra. But in order to undertake Tantric practice, you must have the foundations. It's not enough that the teaching is profound. The practitioner should also be profound. So therefore, for us, it is better to establish the foundation properly. So even in that level, there is urgency. For example, if you have a headache, you would like to immediately go to hospital to take medicine because you don't want to stay with that headache. So similar is the case with many of the sufferings which we know, and there are many sufferings which we don't know. That's why it is important to study Dharma. There are many sufferings which we don't even know that they are sufferings. We think they are peace, they are happiness. Like for example, buying a new car, or when you are very cold, sitting in sunshine, you think that is peace, that is happiness. But how long can you stand in sunshine? After some time, oh, it's too hot, you want to move to the shade, you see. So that means it's changing. That's called njurvedunge. It's conditioned, contaminated happiness, which changes soon into suffering. Like food, when we are hungry, we need to eat. but how much you will eat. When I was a student of, when I was studying economics, I had studied this thing called law of marginal utility. That means when you are hungry, if there is bread available, okay, the first bread is really nice, delicious. Second also okay, third also okay. Then you keep on eating, then you start vomiting. You can't eat further. Law of marginal utility. So clearly showing from these things you won't get that long-lasting peace and happiness. Similarly, friends. When you don't have friends, you long for friend. When you have a friend, there's additional suffering. When you don't have many brothers and sisters, you wish, oh, this person has 10 sisters, 10 brothers. How nice if I also have that. But the more you have those things, it does not come value-free. Lucho namlang gowa chinye ba suji dunge chinye to hitting naladua. In Nagarjuna's letter to the friend, he gives an example of the king of Nagas, which is snake. Nagas means kind of snake. So the king of Nagas is said to have many heads. So the ordinary snakes have only one head. So comparing to the ordinary snake, this king of the Naga literally looks grand with so many heads. But the problem is, the more head you have, the more there is likelihood of getting one of it hurt, you see. Go dikyo menayan dikyo khurgariya. Dua. Go ching moto mena ko chyo shana moto khida shori me dua. Tere dua. So therefore the wealth, the name and fame, they are not the source of long-lasting peace and happiness. And then you make the supplication that whatever obstruction is there for my practice, external obstruction, internal obstruction, may all these obstructions be completely cleared. Tanga chuchi ta chidan nangi parje kariyone hiba sho molam tabu resla. Rawa molam sabji khalo jurs labre. Molam sabji khalo jurs. Making prayer is expressing your wish. So prayer is compared to the bridle of a horse. By using the bridle, the horse can be taken into different directions. So with prayer, when you express your motivation, according to the motivation, according to your wish, you follow that path. You can go to that direction. So it's a very important thing. It's not just the movement of the leaf, but it is expressing the desire. So these are the preparations for your meditation. Then for the actual meditation. Now actual meditation means whatever topic you choose. If you are going to meditate on the importance of spiritual teacher, then you meditate on that. 5 days, 2 weeks, 1 month, just on that. Or impermanence, or bodhicitta. Whatever topic you choose, having made, the preparation is same, the process of preparation is same. Then with actual meditation, depending upon whatever topic you want to choose. Rama, choose that topic. Now, as I briefly explained earlier, first you need to identify the meaning of word meditation. As I said, meditation basically means getting your mind habituated with that object, with that subject that you are going to meditate. Particularly in the case of, we don't have much time, but there are many types of meditation. For example, if you are focusing on the image of the Buddha, then the object of meditation is out there. You look at it carefully, study it carefully. First you choose an image which is nicely made. Unfortunately, sometimes people, do to sell something quickly, they don't make images or painting nicely these days. So you should choose one which is really nicely made. Then look at it. Then without looking, because you can't take that image wherever you go for meditation, So you look at it, then without looking at it, try to remember it. Get a mental picture. So that mental picture, mental image is the object of your meditation. Right? I remember one of my Israeli friend, a young woman who came many, many years when I was translating for His Holiness. She was dying to study Buddhism. I just met her. And then I said, okay, I'll help you a few days. So one day she visited the temple. She has a Jewish background. And came to me and said, I feel very uncomfortable. Why? I said, why? Because the Tibetans are prostrating in front of the image. Because in the Jewish tradition they don't do that, you see. Then I said, okay, if you don't feel comfortable. Then I said, do you carry the photos of your families and friends around? She said, yes. I said, you're stupid like the Tibetans. Then I asked her, why do you take those photos? They are not the real person. She said, no, I know there's no real person, but it helps me remember that. So this is what we do with the image also. No stupid person thinks this is the real Buddha, but through that image we remember the Buddha. Okay? So that has to be remembered mentally. So therefore you study it carefully, and then try to get a picture of it. Now you have started your meditation. When you, having looked at it carefully, and when you try to reflect on it, you will get a very hazy picture, Nose is not clear, face is not clear, eye is not clear. And then in addition to that, 100,000 things which you don't want to meditate will come. You see? I know another Western nun who once came to me and said, Geshe, before I meditated, I was a nice person. After I meditated, I became a bad person. You see? Because as soon, normally when you don't meditate, when you don't develop that awareness, when you don't think, all this host of negative emotions are coming all the time, but there's no chokidar. Nobody watching, they can come and your mind is empty. So the negative emotions are coming and going, playing with you as they wish, and nobody is raising a finger against them. So you don't know. But now as soon as you meditate, then you see how many of those things are coming. When you try to meditate on an image of the picture, you will suddenly find yourself shopping in New York. You see. So then you have to say, no shopping, please come back. Buddha. Buddha's image. So that's the practice you need to do. Repeatedly you have to do. Then slowly, the picture will become clearer. But in the beginning, don't try to get a very clear picture of the whole body, especially the part, the eye, nose. If you are able to get more or less good picture, then be satisfied with that. But if you try to see each and everything as if you are actually looking, it will be difficult. So just to get a good picture of the overall image. When you are able to do that, then you can shift and focus on his eye or nose, like that. So it takes time. So what is most important is, whatever you're focusing on, try to just remember that, and the others you should say, go away. I have not asked you to come. Go away. So there are two hindrances, excitement and dullness. Excitement means when you try to meditate on the image of the Buddha, suddenly the mind loses the object and remembers the picnic that you had last month. So you are physically sitting there, eye also a little bit closed, looks like meditating, but mentally you are picnicking. You see? So that is called excitement. You get so excited, You either you are picnicking, or you remember the friend you met last time, or the holiday you had with your parents, and things like that, you see. That's called excitement, At that time you need to tell, mind, don't get too excited. You are in the samsara. Don't get too excited. You are going to die soon, you see. So think about something that will have sobering effect on your mind. So that will calm the mind down a little bit, and the mind will again stay on the object. Now again there is a likelihood that the mind, instead of getting too excited, it will become so dull that gradually you are losing the object and half sleeping, very comfortable, because when you start sleeping, then the body becomes a little bit more warm, and then you really, especially in winter, So really, and people think you are meditating, but you are sleeping. You see. So if you get habituated with this kind of meditation, then it is said that the mind becomes very, very dull. You might think, you might spend months and sometimes years with this bad habit, thinking you are meditating because temporarily you feel comfortable. You don't take care of any responsibility of going up, going down, pretend that you are meditating and sleeping. But if you get habituated with this kind of habit, then your mind, instead of becoming sharp, will become very dull. So therefore, there are meditators. There are people who say they meditated for a long, long time, but they are totally insensitive to the needs of others. Very angry, very insensitive, and dull. Not even able to use their common sense. There are people like that. So that shows that they did wrong meditation. So therefore, when you meditate, you should, make an effort in such a way that the mind, the clarity of the object must be there, number one. Second, stability. The mind should stay stably on the object. Now, to enable to do that, you need to employ these two things called mindfulness and conscientiousness. Mindfulness means to make sure that the mind stays on the object, and conscientiousness sees whether it's not wandering outside the object or not. Okay? So now you can see, you can spend a lot of time on this. And if you are able to make some improvement on this, then in all other areas, whatever work you do, you will be different. You will be different. You will be able to pay more attention to the job in hand, not only spiritual practice, but whatever job is, you will be able to study carefully, Otherwise, our monkey mind is so cunning and ready to run everywhere. We are not able to concentrate reading only one page, you see. The loka chena to chik ni lo some chiga shingi hamarda. Yarjimandu idirwa. Concentrate chena, shuchi motomolo na di, sigdusu hako waje, tuendusu yaku hako waje. Any yarji shuchi dukdua. Rwa, di lobjon chidang, the gomasina reading, but dim tamashindu. Just if you concentrate, you will start enjoying that subject. Even if you're reading one page, just your mind be there in that page. Otherwise, close the door and close the book and do something else. But sometimes what we do is, the book is open, the mind is wandering, I'm wasting time. So therefore, removing these two obstructions, dullness and distraction, and make sure that your mind stays on the object. So in the beginning, one of the very good object of meditation is Buddha's image. So as I said, imagine that the Buddha's image is on the height, same to the height of your mid eyebrow. That's also duksu deva in the mid eyebrow ki kaptu deva sajila. Pena suzuma duksu nye ne chaji seme ne nyob saji ta dega sajila. The distance is about your one length prostration. Around that distance, the height is similar to your mid eyebrow. Imagine that Buddha's image. In the beginning, that Buddha's image. Then having got this clue, now as I said, it's not the image, but the mental reflection. And then you see that image full of light, full of illumination. The Buddha's face is also compassion and also smiling, things like that. And then gradually you see, it's not just image, this is a real Buddha, a living person. So if you do that, then you get double benefit. One, you are able to meditate. Second, your mind also get habituated with the Buddha. See, in the dream also the Buddha will appear. Last night I got a dream of landing up at an airport, and both my passport and RC got lost. So you get all kinds of dreams. So meditation means getting habituated with the object, and particularly a positive object. Because you don't need to get habituated with negative emotions. There you are already advanced meditator. So it's clear. Gom jingunzi. The purpose of meditation is, as I explained earlier, that we are controlled by our mind. Our mind is primarily controlled by negative emotions. So therefore, now you need to make your mind habituated with the positive emotions so that you are able to get rid of the negative emotions. That's the purpose of meditation. That's all. Now, how to do a good meditation versus bad meditation? Now, good meditation means if you are meditating on impermanence, first you read and study properly about impermanence. What do we mean by impermanence? If there are different types of impermanence, impermanence of life, impermanence of death, separation, and so forth. Think about that carefully. If there are many numbers to be remembered, remember the numbers. Then also the order, how you should meditate. That's important. Because if you miss one of the numbers, you miss something in your meditation. If the order is reshuffled, then it's like a physician giving the medicine in the wrong way. Even when we prepare food, if you put everything, the food will not taste nicely. So there are certain things you put first, certain things you put in the end, and so on. That is one. So that's how you should meditate. Then at the end of the meditation, you should dedicate all the virtuous qualities that you have actualized for the benefit of all sentient beings by reciting prayers like Sangkuchopa Aryabhadra prayer or Molam Dunjuba 70 verses prayer by Ashava Ghosha, Lamrim Molam Dunju. And then with ardent, very strong prayer, dedicate all the virtues that you earned to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now, with regard to the time of the meditation, the best time for meditation is dawn, early in the morning, and then evening, then dusk. If you're able to get a little bit earlier, then everything is quiet and your mind is also fresh. It will be very nice. But many people are so fond of sleeping, very difficult to get up, especially these days, sleeping like a dog, as we say, Even if you're able to get up around 5, it's not too early, it will be very nice. And by the time people get up, you've already done so many things. That's why people say the time you have and the time Mahatma Gandhi had or Mother Teresa had, same 24 hours. So many of this, the Buddha also had the same time, but they achieved so much, we didn't achieve much. Why? Because we kept on sleeping, gossiping, distracted, you see. That's the thing. So if you want to achieve something great, you need to do a little bit differently. That's the time. And with the process of meditation, actual process of meditation, in the beginning, it should be short sessions of meditation, 10 minutes or so, short session. Not long, because your body is not habituated with that. Your mind is not ready. If you push yourself, the next time your mind will say, no, I don't want to meditate. Gom jab sake dehen thona, ene chungmer langere selap kedua. Usuk jab thana. gom sanches na gom yakoto de galen khegures de khagures. When your meditation is really going nicely, 10 minutes, then stop it. That will make you feel like coming back. And then also the place where you're going to meditate, as I briefly explained, clean the place, as I said earlier. Make it interesting. The altars are nice, the place is clean, the meditation seat looks nice, There are so many things lying around, not like that. Then you feel like coming. It's not only for meditation. For a good writer, for a good student also, you have to prepare those things that will inspire you to study. Prepare a nice chair, nice table, put some nice dictionaries there, your laptop, computer there. You feel like coming, you see. And you say you are a research scholar, you are a student. There's no sign of dictionary, no sign of table, no place to see it, It's not inspiring, you see. So this I read in the books, which talks about how to become a writer. So the place should be inviting. And if your meditation is becoming a little bit more stable, then you can prolong the session, prolong the period. So in all these processes, you should not force yourself. And if you're, for example, when you are doing the meditation, if you feel you're feeling too sleepy, then don't just force yourself. Get up, have a nice cup of tea, go for a short walk, wash your face, whatever, and think about something that will cheer up your mind. Then come back. Okay? And what you should do during the post-meditative session. During the meditative session, whatever you are thinking, you look nice. You're sitting there, the nice altar is in front, people might think, okay, he's doing his practice. It looks nice. How successful you are, it's up to you. But at least it looks nice. But the real trouble starts when you get up from the meditation and go to your work, mix with other people, go with your co-workers. That is post-meditative session. Khalas agore mi nyam do rawa tikal ta nyok dang ko suget su emi yama lage tin thugro yang odire. So post meditative session is even more important. The meditative session is like charging the battery. Why should you charge the battery? So that you are able to use the light when you go into darkness. So similarly, when you do the meditation, you are charging so that during the post meditative session, when you meet all kind of strange people, when you encounter all kind of rough and tough time, then at that time you should be able to use that meditative practices that you have done. That is the test of the pudding. There is a story, of somebody who said he is a great practitioner and meditator on patience. So he was sitting there in the forest, not moving, When people came and said, "What are you doing?" "I'm meditating on patience." "Then you eat my shit." Somebody teased him by saying, "You eat my shit." And that so-called meditator immediately said, "You eat my shit." So that is the thing, you see. So that takes time. Sitting alone and looking nice is okay, it's good, it has its benefit, you see. But the real test is how are you going to live with other people? When you meet so many people with so many mental dispositions, so many ways of thinking, so many ways of, conducting, then you should be able to live harmoniously with these people. Or even with the hostile situation environment. As I said earlier, the purpose of medicine is so that when you get sick, it's able to cure. When you're healthy, you don't need meditation or medicine. So similarly, when you are in trouble, when someone from your family dies, or when there is a tragedy, at that time then the spiritual practice, meditation must come and benefit you. So on those difficult times you also cry like any other people. You also become helpless like any other people. Then what's the benefit of the practice? The kayo layo ji gorwa. Tharwa da thamji chimba da tharing bore da di. Di konglo thobi ji gorwa. As I said, nirvana and enlightenment is too far, to be honest. But the key question is, are we going to get something before that? Yes. As I said, if you do the practice as I've explained, as this text has explained, then you will benefit immediately, on the spot. And through that way, then of course you are gradually moving towards nirvana enlightenment. So that's important. So during the post-meditative session, you can do good practices like doing prostration, going around the temple, reciting prayers and so forth. But the most important thing is during the post-meditative session, you should again study about those subjects which you are going to meditate during the actual meditation. For example, if the subject you are going to meditate is impermanence, then during meditative state, you may not be able to remember everything. So during the post-meditative state, then you read again. And that's very helpful. And many of us, when we study, we do like that. And I do like that. For example, I read book a little bit like this, then I close and try to remember nothing. When you are reading, it seems everything is clear, but when you close, nothing. Then you try to remember. Then again look. And then few lines come in the mind. So then you are able to remember. Rigpa ligmam nang su dang silavre. Susul rigpa di pecha nang liyo na peng marwa. Susul gorwa. Susul yo bache gorwa. Knowledge must be there with you, not in the book. Rwa. Odire. Huh? Then in order to achieve further success in meditation like calm abiding, shamat and vipassana, hine dan Lhakdor, then there are many additional kind of courses that you must collect. Or even in ordinary meditation also there are many courses and conditions that must be fulfilled. For example, one of the very important course is restrain your senses. Wampu go dombas. Wampu go sena duzarawa mi nawana. Ta matong gu thongarawa di. Di mago gu khogarawa. Dini ti jele jungne nyokro lungwa kan lang duwa. Just the go dom sir. Close the restraining the senses. The eye sees so many things. The ear hears so many things. The nose wants to smell so many things. The body wants to touch so many things. The tongue wants to taste so many things. That's why all these restaurants opened up. And then the mind chases the senses in the pursuit of the sensual objects. Then you get all the problem. That's why we are talking about having more contentment, less desire. The more you have desire, the less contentment you have, the more you will become a slave to the dictates of the senses. The senses will always say, I want this, I want this, I want this. When your eyes see something, I want this, I want this. And those of you who have attended my talks earlier, you will remember I've explained the big malls. The big malls, if you visit a big mall, these big malls are developed in accordance with the needs of the customers. The eye wants to see something, so they have one floor of television. That's what you want. You move to the next floor, restaurants, your tongue wants that. Next floor, CDs, DVDs, music. Next floor, clothes for touch. Like that, you see. So it is because of our lack of contentment, desire, the market is flooding with so many things. So if we have a little bit more contentment and less desire, many of these unwanted things are rubbish that is flooding the market, they can be minimized, you see. We can talk a lot about those things. But anyway, you are going to get into trouble. if you run after all these sensual objects. And forget about meditation. Your money will be gone. And meditation is not possible. Therefore, you must restrain the senses. Because if you don't restrain the senses, when the senses go after undesirable objects, then you develop all the negative emotions. That's the problem. Then second very important thing is, whatever you are going to do it consciously. Don't go around like a zombie. Consciously, where am I going right now? I mean, some people, they are so childish. I mean, maybe good nature, I don't know. But some people says, let us go to Maglorganj. Yes, okay, go Maglorganj. Let's go down to Kotipalli Bazaar. Okay, go. No idea what they are doing, They are simply led by the nose by other people. So, if you want to do good practice or want to achieve something in your life, do things with full awareness. Where am I going? The place where I am going, is it a good place or bad place? Is the restaurant I'm going is a good restaurant, bad restaurant? The poor person to whom I am going to meet is a good person or bad person? Is it better to go or not to go? Think carefully, especially these days, you see. Engage and do things with full awareness while you are widely awake. Nihor tom tom tido do membership. Or this is what. Take a chamber hudo. How did it? And likewise, physically also, you should check what your hand is doing, what your mouth is saying, how your eye is looking, you see. When a milk daway natata mangorwa, Miglote yore, Miyajik sumni yajidan day yore, Damendachi yoroda. Gemugian, even when you laugh, there are so many ways of laughing. Sarcastic smile, smile also, friendly smile. So you should check how you are smiling, how you are laughing, what is your hand gesture, how you are walking, you see. Chenmo, very, very important. So engage consciously. No did it, huh? So in short, whether it's something that you are doing in the day, something that you are doing in the night, remember what you are doing. And if you realize that what you are doing is wrong, don't engage into it. Stop doing that. For example, if you are somebody who is engaging in a lot of smoking, don't try to justify it, And then make a motivation that from henceforth I will do like this, not like this. So in short, whatever you are doing, engage into those activities with full awareness. Full awareness, that's the thing. If you do like that, in this life also you will not engage in any wrongdoings. And after you die, you will also not fall into negative state of existence. And you will also be able to collect much merit, which will help you move from lower spiritual paths to higher spiritual paths. In short, you will be able to lead a life where you don't have to regret. Tanda ga shindu chene jungma dong chime kawa king what in the Chenmo says. There are things which you might be engaging right now happily and laughing, but it could be the cause which will bring tear when you die. Like dua. And then with your food also, there should, if you are a meditator, practitioner, or even for your health, there should be moderation in your food. Moderation in your food. 당가도 페퍼라지는 도서 도나 히우 제고도 추추 세가지 히우 세가지 칼라사다 마신. This observe 제고지. So it says have moderation in food. That means don't eat too little. If you eat too little, you will have no energy to do the practice. In today's world, there are people who eat very little and they kill themselves, especially among ladies in some places. And they suffer from what is known as anorexia. The ladies, they worry so much about their figure, then eat less and less. Even when they eat very little, still they think this will destroy my figure, and they starve themselves. It's happening. So you can see to what extent ignorance can take you. And there are men, who eat too much. That they look at the sumo wrestlers, or there are others. They're very interesting. We are living in a very interesting world. Kunto sokwa dine duwa mi chiji duwa ina fit dun le manga yugi ta ringdong ji ora subu ringdong fit dun le manga yugi sokwa se rawa ya jigo cha de kilo khasi na chig lembe sokwa se ro da di lengge sokwa deso ta jakba kujo da mo to gi chang chang jore. So there are like groups, groups of people who are above 7 feet height. And the groups of people who weigh certain kilos, 200 kilos or something, So things like that. So have moderation in food. Don't eat too little because you will have no energy to do the practice. And also don't eat too much. Then you will feel sleepy. You will also not be able to breathe properly. Yung do akala himboji the san it says me masa haro ya tan u ga tang thum do se di yung do cha di pheng mu do cha thama de dungye nyang do ene manju gagdi jap rawa sa sorbo shiwa. And it's based on one's own experience. And if you just eat the right amount of the food, you feel so healthy. Your mind will become much lighter and more fresh, you see. Kala des ya do se di shido che. And then you should also, take those foods which you are able to digest. Even if that food is very delicious and nice, if the fire of the digestive system is not so good, you will not be able to digest it, you see. So you should be able to digest it. Even in the case of a healthy person, don't eat food before having digested the first food that you have taken. And then the food should be something that you have not acquired by wrong means, by cheating people, through negative emotions. And also realize the fact it is not a good idea to crave too much about food. Kashibe de sibe mena shido che de. Sibe mena ngasa thumu sigaje. Ro ti do da an kashi churmo mena ngasa be churmo de inchi me go do. For some churmo chawsar ta do churmo. Ro. Sometimes I can make joke better in Tibetan, you see. Ro. Tingune ro ta dire do, so that is true, So there are people who say, "Oh, I can't eat food without chili, without spice." It may not be good for your health, but still addiction, you see. So we need to get rid of those kind of addiction which comes through craving and grasping. And last 2 or 3 years back, we had this Mind Lab conference in His Holiness office, and the topic was on addiction. So during that, one of the presenter, he said that the human brain has a natural capacity to judge what is right, what is wrong. Natural capacity. If you live it on that natural level, look at the body, the amazing power to digest food, When you are hungry, the body tells you you are hungry. When you are thirsty, the body tells you, it needs water and things like that. So the brain also has an amazing power to see what is right, what is wrong. That's natural capacity. But if you get addicted in something, then the addiction takes over to the power of that natural brain to judge between what is right and wrong. So it will stop functioning. Now see, so dangerous. Then that addicted part of the brain says, bring. Like for example, you can test this. If you're not a smoker, take the first puff, you will not release it. You will end up like coughing like anything. But still, you try again. Then after some time, looks okay. You stop coughing, you see. Then after that, even if you want to stop, the brain will say, no, last time you gave me so many times the smoking, now bring. The brain dictates. It's getting addicted, you see. And then you can't stop. That's called addiction. So the addiction can be in many things. Addiction of tea, sweet, whatever. So you have to be careful, okay, so that you are able to function naturally. The reason that you should not develop too much craving to the food is, for example, if you look at the material substance by which the food is made. However good the food looks, sweet or delicious, whatever, once you put it in your mouth and chew it, it becomes dirty. And what you throw in the toilet, you know how dirty it is. So there's not what comes from the food is not worth developing too much craving. It's only for, as Nagarjuna says in his letter to the friend, Kase mendang dawa rekbarachi docha hedame bar tenji jasemala nibesemala sajemala lunibashik. Where he says the food should be seen as a medicine. And many of the Buddha sutras, the Buddha clearly said, food is a medicine. Now, if food is a medicine, then in the case of medicine, do we take too much, 1 or 2 plates of medicine? You see, we take not so much medicine like that. So similarly with the food also, too much or too little is not good. So the result of food is either it will become urine or excretion or blood or pus or things like that. And then for getting that food, how much we have to work. The food doesn't come free, you see. So much work. To go to university, you have to study so many years, then you have to get a job, and then you're at the mercy of the one who had given you a job, you see. So, not worth developing too much craving and grasping. And then people fight over food. Friends get separated. And if you don't have satisfaction, then the more you enjoy, the more craving there will be. And those who are, as I said, if you are somebody who has less contentment and, less desire, then because of your craving and grasping towards food, clothing, you need more and more. That more and more will not come freely. That more and more will have to come by working under somebody. So in a way, you will become a slave to someone else. Rwa. Dojung chokye yona mila hirarang rego marwa so rawang piju tang yadwa. Ta chigo ningo se de mi yokbu jigin sigorda. You can see those people who join army, for example. A clear example is, just for food, you are ready to go to the battle and get killed. You see, this is a clear example. But if you have more contentment and less desire, you will be more free. And you will be able to then really enjoy the real meaning of human life. So there should be a limit. And for getting that food, how many type of negative emotions we cultivate? Fighting, killing, like the conflict and the war between different countries is all for money, food. And these days, one very clear example is people are fighting over oil. Many powerful countries are fighting there in Syria for oil primarily. And that's not happening with Tibet because Tibet has no oil. Probably, if I'm not wrong. They may say they are defending this country, that country, but they are aiming for something else. So that's the thing. But if you use food and whatever at your disposal, if you use it properly, with contentment, then that can be facility for your spiritual practice, for your spiritual upliftment. So the end purpose of that food is so that you are able to remain healthy and you are able to live. Kala saye de naye che dumarwa. Ina sama hidu nagore. Mine thamji sene ins lavre. Tane thamji jugne ins lavre. Mi nasa mangcha sadama hina setan nagre se. Mine thamji sene. There is a Tibetan saying which says that all the human sicknesses are sicknesses coming from food. By taking the wrong food or improper food. Which is true. I remember very well when I was working in His Holiness's office. So during, after the office, I used to go at the crossroad in front of the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics. So there was a very, small Indian boy who was selling this golgappa, I don't know how to translate this. Is a, something, filled with water, sour water or something. Then they put it like this. Like this, golgappa. So it's a very skinny little boy. So I used to go to him and tease him, Arey kya ho gaya, itna dubla patla, aapko khana bhi nahi milta hai. Tilab nye ko garo, nye khol. Ko kar se, Guruji, jada bimar khane se hota hai, duble patle se nahi silap sakho. And I said, how come you are so skinny, so small, This little Indian boy who was selling this golgappa, he said, Guruji, you need to realize that all sicknesses come from eating, not from less eating, which was a big lesson, similar to the teaching in the Lamrim, No dusre. And then moreover, the text says, receiving too many things from other people, if you don't have the power to digest, Mizani kanjumunju sayedi chidani lela wa yomare se gore. Savala dendrol nyi gore se. Dendrol nyi se na. Yamanal so sudum yabo dendingi. Yamanal lamgi garo troba top degi dendeji gore se. Ngadu namju mikyuma ina bese savala chak ndamba go se lagudwa. Chak ndamba ineji gore lela wa yomare. There's a Tibetan saying which says in order to consume other people's food and gifts, you need a jaw that's made of iron. That means you can't take it for granted. When somebody is giving you something, you're getting something from other people. Don't just take them and eat them so easily, There's a beautiful verse by Seventh Dalai Lama. Shen la shata tarfa senurji korje. Rang la ding me shindu mingumbar chebe. Legbe chakunde dungu sundugwa. Tugla mendo hembe nangsu de kyowas. The Seventh Dalai Lama. This is called beautiful quotation. Shen la shata tarfa senurji korje. The food, the other wealth, and other things that is offered to you. He is talking to the monks. It can be referred to others also. So the food, the wealth, and other things that is offered to you, you should know that these things that is offered to you is very dear to the one who makes you that offering. It's like his own flesh and blood. Hienla shata tar phangbo chachi moching de ya phugu yore senor ji korje resdi. Rang la ding me hin de mingombar chebe. Social ding ta cha sayegi thungegi. Ding me na ya thandu tokol khae me bachene satung denas rang la ding me hin de mingombar chebe. If you don't have the confidence that you will be able to digest these offerings because of your morality, because of your spiritual practice. If you don't have that confidence, still, if you try to enjoy them without contentment, the end result will be all the good things that you have will vanish. all the merit, good things that you have done will vanish. So this is real evil force. Like we chakuntribe, do tendil do cigarettes. Tukla men to him and job. So it is like actually a poison that you are consuming. But you are taking it as if it is a medicine. So he said, alas, is this situation. We are seeing this poison as a medicine. It will become a poison to you because you don't have the morality. You don't have the practice. You don't have the compassion. So lelo medua. Chedo. Just a midula hita go chedes. Jidana chala go shiu chedi yawe samarwa. When we came into this world, we came empty-handed. We brought nothing. When we go also, we will take nothing. So why so much fuss in between? Of course, we need something, but not too much. Because of your merit, because of your luck, because of your effort, if you have so many things, okay, it's fine. But still, don't develop too much craving and grasping. Rangla juchala the pesha mango yona, mango yeba samji kyon ke yomare. Tatila chen, chashen chen. Rangi samaza, mila penta manu, rawa. Zizi zizana la de, the sing de sawana shen sa dena, pendo kram dua tango chen. Odisi urda. Rawa pena changjo semega lam nyamle chidu. Juchala kazi manga yona yaga yo se jore. The yaga yo se du Koran de bachimbo chen se gomar. Mi hen la pendo chigen ta chesar inza, juchala de ming the tam kariyuna, hen la tang tugu yoza. Dende midil ta kazi chung ya kores. Changjo sembe nyamale ma chen so so chik bu tharo tabe nyamle chege jina dilan dojung chokki che gor lab gdwa. Jasan dojung chokki che gor se gashi ge goma so chen nangjo jangna da rangje loye kora re medos. Dojung chokki che dena kawa yung gor se goma se ke jare. Dojung chokki che so so do bachim bo ma je se gor ma do. Jibe tondala di che gomar se gomarwa. So in terms of your individual needs and purposes, there should be more contentment, less desire. For the purpose of many other sentient beings, there should be more project, more work. So in the case of a bodhisattva, it talks about the practice of the six perfections. Practice of giving. If you don't have, what are you going to give? So you should have many things. But to have many things is not a problem because you have already dedicated everything for others. So the problem is the grasping and craving. What did it? What looks it? Then also in terms of how you sleep. First of all, as we discussed, you should spend a lot of time doing practice without sleeping. Nye the gawashi which in the consumption the temu paid or so the leba pejo tangu yamarwa. If you get too much used with sleeping, then there will be more ignorance. Now this is scientifically proved. As I said on the first day, if you don't use the brain, then the neural pathways will get blocked. It will stop functioning. So the more you think, the more you use, the better it will be. So therefore, of course you need sleep. Sleep is for resting, but not too much. And then, of course, you can't continue to practice for all the 24 hours. So you need to take rest, you need to sleep. So when you sleep, the process of the conduct of sleep should be nice. Okay, that is Shazan Love Sari Lamaguchi. So just for example, just before sleeping, try to remember what you have been doing today, the good practices. And then think about those positive practices. Then sleep. Now because of the influence of this reflection that you did just before sleeping, it's very likely then while you are sleeping, you continue to reflect on those positive practices. But instead, just before sleeping, if you watch a horror movie, and then go to sleep, it's very likely that you will replay it, you see. The rawa chakdo adinde. Oche dile le chena jeba chema nyangre se nyangdo dinde se nyangore. Rawa. Henda nyimo tukja jiche en sel melam hada na disarwa. Ya melam dana nyangdo odi dawre se korta. Odusere. And then food also, like just before sleeping, less food. Less food. Khalate se nyuma. Because the usual English or other saying is breakfast like a king, right? King or prince? Breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a beggar. But the Tibetans, now look at the Tibetans. The Tibetans say, Shoge khandro mewe jagze sa. Ningung to do yimbe jagze sa. Gungro ni la pembe jagze sa. So Tibetans say, have a heavy breakfast because it is not sure where you will end up in the day. Sounds good, huh? Sounds true. So this is similar with the king. So there is agreement there. Then you might be thinking that the lunch may be a little bit less, like the prince, but the Tibetans know. They say have a heavy lunch because it is the real meal time. Looks true. Then you go to the dinner. Now you must be thinking the dinner must be light. The Tibetans say, have a heavy dinner because it's good for your sleep. But the generally agreed thing, scientifically found or based on one's own practice is also, if you eat a little bit less before sleeping, it's much better. Okay? And when you go to sleep, it is said that before you sleep, you wash your feet. Wash your feet. And then sleep on the right side of your body. This is called lion's posture. Just as lion is the king of all the animals, this is the symbolic meaning of being able to overpower the negative emotions, like the lion controls all other animals. And then also it is said that you will be able to get up earlier. I have tested with this a little bit, and it really looks true. Because whenever I sleep on this side, because you can't sleep on this side for very, very long, then you have to change the side. And I sleep on this, then I can't breathe properly. I have noticed this. Sometimes I start coughing, Okay? So this on the right side. If you are unable to sleep the whole night, but more time on the right side. The sleeping face down, this is said to be the way of the animal. Tundu kabub se. Like angel se, sleeping like this. It's like the celestial being. Like angel se. Hidak gumne se. Ta gashi nyendu chenza shi nga chokbu chiyo. Ko nyendu pe riri chini nyengdu wako. Kambal di pokub karijan di kuyo ne kangba di yaru uru chini. Chenza kandas nyendu kuyo na samne di. Di ta tiringe hine tongsu di hidak luksu. I have one Tibetan friend, So once I was visiting Moscow, so we shared the room, So I saw him, with his legs, withdrawn, he was almost like a ball, So this way of sleeping is said to be the way of the hungry ghost. And those who engage more in desire, they sleep on the left side of the body, tuksudua. The Chebar you said that this can be scientifically tested, What lies on the right side, what kind of channels are there, testing chedua. And then you should sleep with the feeling of light and illumination. Not the perception of dullness or darkness, but light and illumination. And with mindfulness. And sometimes just before sleeping, if you recite few verses or try to remember one or two lines, it's very useful. Sometimes you are able to remember it so clearly in the night. Tende yungu doa samsam. Nga tende chigu shiu chigu sigmada. Nga ngoma tende takchi tende chenyong lobjong janganyong rwa. Tima doa tingsang takpa shiu chigu sigmada ya. Oh duksere. Ta tende mero mango chidu soyes chimadu. Ta khandar whether it's food, whether it's your process of sleeping, in all this you should be mindful and aware. So that's the thing. Thank you. Any questions? Parting question? No question. Yeah. Re.
Movement of mind.
Yes, two questions. First question is, which one is more fruitful? Focusing on an object outside or focusing on your mind? And second is, what is the best way of focusing on your mind?
Sorry, no. First question is, what is the... second question is...
Second question, yeah.
What is the difference between the result of trying to watch it on you?
Result.
On mind.
Right.
And then second, and...
The process.
The result of trying to focus on external object as Buddha stages include the impermanent.
In the beginning, it will be much more fruitful to meditate more on external objects, because it will not be so easy to meditate on your mind, okay? Because mind is non-physical, colorless, shapeless, right? But then gradually, not only meditating on the external object, but meditating on your mind is very much encouraged. Now the best way of meditating on your mind is, it is said that the best way of meditation is ensure that your mind does not think about the past. Then also forget any plan about the future. Now when you don't think about anything that has happened in the past, any plan for the future, and in this state when you try to remain, then you will be able to get a kind of reflection of the so-called mind, which may be probably like an energy, a kind of vacuity. Because normally the mind is almost like filled with objects, you see. Whether it's seeing a flower or a door or a window or a human being, it is full of contents. Now when you make an attempt not to think about the past, about the future, the mind becomes contentless, you see. So you get a kind of vacuity. So try to let your mind remain on that state. The advantage of doing that is then it will help you stop chasing the object. All the negative emotions are accumulated by chasing the object. Duga da gawa migawa changma thone diletene docha khina dene suguyorwa. Tadi yugi jele jugma chuwa chen. Sem rangi gangla chautumna and dikpasaya changma chedu warwa. It is very much encouraged in Dzogchen and many other higher tantric practices. But in Chenmo yungu yoba shekdwa. So ordinarily also, therefore, as I right in the beginning also I briefly mentioned that that you should cultivate that long-lasting peace and happiness from within, not from outside. That is what I mentioned right in the beginning. So from within means let your mind remain as an observer of the things happening around, but not chasing them, not being entrapped by this. Yidungma yudna tebana yarjitujin jasunchikidu. Zeparnaya, Dember Medashin, Henjapoma Yasilalins, Doa Yasilalina. Yidungma yudna tebana. When you encounter a very attractive, beautiful object, normally when we encounter an attractive, beautiful object, we just get obsessed with, wow, so nice. I should have this BMW car or whatever, Timdog Dodinal. Ta yidungma yudna tebana, ta karche gorasana di mayo tabla. You should see that attractive object just like a rainbow in the summer, which looks beautiful but has no essence. Looks beautiful but no essence. So it's useless to chase after that rainbow. So similarly, everything, however attractive, however beautiful, doesn't really have that ultimate true existence. Yomarwa. So through that way you are able to remove craving, attachment and all kind of negative emotions. Okay, thank you very much. So let us dedicate the prayer, the virtuous practices. Karasaya. Takpat namne jigme shok, jingwa namne tujur jik, tume namne tunden jing, semne pinzu nyenjur jiks. So let us recite and reflect on this prayer. And you can repeat after me. May those with fear be fearless. May those under bondage be freed. May those powerless be empowered. May our hearts join in friendship. Thank you very much. Thank you.